Sheriff Todd Baxter, employees of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, employees of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court, Paul C. Melcher, James Young Jr., Penfield Town Court. My name is Chris Chichester. I have been in jail 6 times. 6 times the prosecutor's not talked in court. District Attorney Doorley, Perry Douglas, and Mark Monahan of the District Attorney's Office. What are the names of my prosecutors? This is the Freedom of Information Law dated this August 1st, 2023. Arriving your offices via email August 1st, 2023, and I'll print out a copy of it and I'll send it to your registered mail return receipt. And with District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Perry Douglas, and Mark Monahan, and Michelle Craig, Director of the Grand Jury, looks the foil I'm going to read right here. She'll have a copy. The original here is in red. She will refuse to disclose the names of my prosecutors to silence. And this is why. Sandra Doorley, the District Attorney of Monroe County, is corrupt. And I have been using this document, this instrument, the Freedom of Information Law, for 18 plus months, demanding she do a simple thing. Tell me the name of the freaks that are assigned to my concocted criminal charges, fiction, and lies. And she's a freak because she's refusing to comply with the law. This is not the internal operations of the District Attorney's Office. Freak Perry Douglas, freak Mark Monahan, and freak Michelle Crowley. How do you convene that grand jury without, one, interviewing me, either in person at the District Attorney's Office or over the phone? 2, calling me to the grand jury. How's that answer? You get indicted a ham sandwich. I'm your ham sandwich. It is so famous that it is language to convey to the person hearing it that it's a fanatical, corrupt prosecutor. I first became aware of a fanatical, corrupt prosecutor with Lawrence Walsh, which I'm sure you remember him, in the so-called Iran-Contra scandal, where he was berserk for, I believe it was 8 years, that he was the independent counsel appointed by my former employers, the United States Senate, United States House of Representatives. This thing just would not go away. And he indicted one of the most distinguished Americans of the 20th century, in Caspar Weinberger, who was pardoned by President George H.W. Bush as one of his final acts in office, as he should have been. Lawrence Walsh is a fanatical, degenerate, corrupt prosecutor. And you, Sandra Doorley, are a fanatical, degenerate, corrupt prosecutor for multiple reasons. But the reason that animates me the most is, what are the names of my prosecutors that have delivered me to jail 6 times, and you're refusing to disclose those names? You refuse to disclose all information. And the hypocrisy of you frauds at the District Attorney's Office is that there is real crime in Monroe County, and you're concocting fiction and lies for me that can't be defended in open court. A prosecutor cannot stand in court, make an argument that I've committed a crime exercising a First Amendment right. That's impossible. That's why you freaks, sociopaths, the freak and sociopath assistant district attorneys assigned to my cases rely on the fiction and lies of what's on paper. The criminal charge on paper. I have criminal charges on paper that are crimes. And you will not arrest these individuals, including Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees. When I read the names of Richard J. Seaman and Michael Houlihan of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Richard J. Seaman violently attacked the Penfield Public Library, Michael Houlihan lied under oath to your grand jury, Michelle Crowley, that you didn't call me to. These are crimes, and you ignore it. So, I sent it to your office now. Michael Houlihan, Todd Baxter's $73,000 freak, and Don Benedetto, Todd Baxter's $85,000 freak, walked onto the private property of my elderly neighbor, 70 years old, as I'm going away, which 2 years ago, at midnight. I walk alongside my rights. Anything they say is a lie because these are cop freaks. When Benedetto and Houlihan come running at me, I never stop running. If I never stop running, I can't commit a crime. And at first, I don't know who this is, and I think I know who this is, but I'm not stopping running because it's midnight, and this is less than 30 seconds. If you want to get into the contents of my head, what I should have done when 2 people are running at me in the dark of night, go ahead and do it. Michelle Crowley, Sandra Doorley, and Mark Monahan, and Perry Douglas. I never stop running. The most important thing is if I never stop running, I can't commit a crime. I get to the back porch. Houlihan and Benedetto behind me. Michael Houlihan, a perjurer. Now. Grabs my arm. The hammer I just grabbed next to my bike goes up like this. I pull away, I run through the sliding glass door, I never stop running. This is on the body camera footage of Michael Hulan or Don Benedetto or both. That Regina Harper, the public defender's office, that your employee public defender, Julie Sianka, played for me. I'm looking at myself run away from these two freaks. Now they have to explain why they're there. I go up to the second floor, there's about 10 of them outside. They're stalking me in Pembroke, New York. And what he did, Michelle Crowley, he's come back to you at your district attorney's office and lied to you about the grand jury. Why didn't you call me to the grand jury, Michelle Crowley? Because you hate human beings, because you're corrupt, because you know you can indict anybody with the 18 to 24 stupidest people in Monroe County. And who are these 18 to 24 stupidest people? Freedom of Information Law on this August 1st that I'm going to read, and you freaks and sociopaths that comply with 0. I'll be talking to you freaks and sociopaths in between these Freedom of Information Law documents. If you have questions for me, this is where to reach me. 620 Park Avenue, PNB number 361, Rochester, New York 14604. Or you can call me on the phone, Perry Duckles at the District Attorney's Office, and you can leave a voicemail or talk to me and tell me the names of my prosecutors of silence. 813-648-4441. If you call me on the phone and tell me the names of my prosecutors of silence, then I won't have to write that FOIL anymore because they don't know the names. And if I do get a voicemail, what it's going to be is from one of you freaks and sociopaths at the District Attorney's Office somewhere else telling me I'm supposed to be in court where you don't have to talk. You don't have to exercise a First Amendment right. You don't have to defend or explain any type of concocted criminal charge for me. And I could be ruled guilty by a corrupt judge like $208,000 fossil Alex Renzi or $28,000 Paul C. Metzler or $34,000 James Milley, John P. Lomenzo Jr. in Pembroke Town Court. A prosecutor's never talked to court for me before $208,000 Alex Renzi, $34,000 John P. Lomenzo Jr., and $28,000 Paul C. Metzler. How am I in jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk to court? How does that happen to anybody? Because you're freaks and sociopaths, that's why. So, this is the Freedom of Information Law on this August 1st, 2023. Information about the grand jury convened by District Attorney Sandra Doorley. That is 1, day, month, and year the grand jury convened. 2, the assigned District Attorney's Office employee that addressed the grand jury. 3, the witness that testified to the grand jury. 4, the vote of the grand jurors. 5, the transcript of the grand jury proceeding. I hope you don't answer Michelle Crowley, because then I have a reason, a rationale, grounds to spar you. What are these answers? Do you fail to understand, Michelle Crowley? Because I've been in relentless contact with you about this grand jury. How did you pick these human beings? Did you, Michelle Crowley, address the grand jury? Or was it somebody else? And tell me the answer, Michelle Crowley. You can contact me right here. You can call me on the phone and talk to me if you want. Call me, Director of the Grand Jury, Michelle Crowley, and we can have a conversation where you can answer every single one of these questions. Call me, Perry Duckles, and we can have a conversation, Deputy District Attorney of Monroe County, and you can answer these questions. I don't believe you are the de facto District Attorney. Sandra will go into the office for standard work week, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Does she have a driver? Or she not have a driver and is she home? I've demanded that previously, and it's nothing from you because there's no accountability from you freaks and sociopaths at 47 South Fitzhugh in Rochester, New York, because you obliterate lives and destroy lives with no remorse, no guilt whatsoever. So, you got it. Richard J. Seaman walked into the Pembroke Public Library, stood at the terminal. He ran at me, slammed his arm to the side of my head. I fell backwards. My head hit the ceramic tile floor. He picks me up, takes me down to this disgusting star chamber, Pembroke Town Court. Paul C. Metz was waiting for me with a prepared statement. My head is pounding. My ears are ringing. And this is the important part, which is why I called the previous YouTube unconstitutional. There was nobody there from the District Attorney's Office present. But this is where I meet my new public defender, Julie Sianka. Did you, Julie Sianka, know I'm supposed to be in Pembroke Town Court that day when Richard J. Seaman attacked me? Mark Phillips, assistant public defender. What do you think about what I just said? Because you and I, Mark, used to have, I would say, a good relationship that evaporated when your mail started coming back to me. Sunni Fredonia, right, Mark? What do we talk about? Because I remember. So, Freedom of Information Law. The issuance of a new check to Christopher Chichester at the address below for expired check in the amount of $61.39 from the County of Monroe Office of Sheriff and May Fund account That's the dollar amount in the pocket of Chichester when he was violently attacked at Penn Public Library with $75,094, which is JC, the Monterey Sheriff's Office. I'm going to show you that criminal complaint. So, violent psychopath, Todd Thurston. I try not to impeach the character of somebody I don't know. And it is difficult sometimes because the hatred I have for the sheriff's office has obliterated my life. But Todd Thurston, Richard J. Seaman, I don't know if you're out of Panorama Trail or not, but he was, because I was out there once and saw him. He needs a mental health evaluation by a qualified professional. That should begin with this question. Do you walk into a library and attack a citizen? Because he will fail a mental health examination. So Todd Baxter, there are things that can remove you from office. There are corrupt contracting practices in every state in the United States of America, every large municipality. There's corrupt contracting practices in New York City every day. So Todd Baxter, you contract for your weapons, and I know you're going to refuse with some ludicrous, ridiculous excuse like just security brawls. I want to know the name of the contractor, as I say on here, and the number of firearms purchased. That's all demanding, and the total amount. Freedom of information. The contract signed by Sheriff Todd Baxter to purchase firearms from Iowa County Sheriff Office employees to include the name of the firearms contractor, the number of firearms purchased, total amount, and tax paid hours purchased firearms. You can answer this to me. Dollar amount, name of contractor, what do you have? Because you don't just have the handguns, and you have, as I've said repeatedly, an arsenal. You, Todd Baxter, you should turn your M16 as your an E8. I believe you're in the Guard of Reserves, but if you're no longer in the Guard of Reserves, then you were an E8 and you got your 20 and you're now a double dipper. But Todd Baxter, you know, because you've done this, because every veteran has done this. You got your M16 and then you have to return it. And you know exactly how that weapon functions because you've been taught first in basic training, then there's ongoing qualification, as you know. Well, when I would go to return my M16 at 17 Cavalry 101st Airborne Division, I really was in awe of what was in there and what I was looking at, especially the M60. And the Rangers were attached to the 17 Cavalry, and they had weapons different than what I had. I was just an ordinary soldier. And I remember sitting there one day, or standing there, pardon me, returning my weapon and looking at what is in this room. And you have the same thing. I'm demanding to know what it's because those weapons can be used to murder or kill an innocent citizen at any time. And you refuse to answer with some ludicrous, ridiculous security of your office. I didn't demand security of your office here. Tell me what the answer is. You refuse because you're corrupt. You don't know you're corrupt. You, Todd Baxter, Sandra, Doorley, you, Alex Renzi, you, Paul C. Maxwell, James Felony Jr., do not know you're corrupt. To this day, Elliot Spitzer, when he resigned in disgrace on March 13, 2008, I was in Albany next to the Capitol because I had an apartment on State Street, which is next to the Capitol. Elliot Spitzer does not know he's corrupt because he ran for New York City Controller 5 years later. You do not know you're corrupt. Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Judge Alex Renzi, Paul C. Maxwell, James Felony Jr., Peppertown Court. And this is going to be a reason why. What are the names of my prosecutors? What are the names of these freaks prosecuting me in total silence? Freedom of information, documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester, Peppertown Court for John P. Menzel Jr. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? The freak is right here. What's the name of the freak? Is this Julie Hahn or is this not Julie Hahn? Because this is a female, and I know exactly what this female looks like. And you, Perry Ducks and Mark Monahan and Michelle Crowley, know the name because you have records in the district attorney's office. So, Freedom of Information Law on this August 1st. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester and Peppertown Court for Paul C. Maxwell. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? The freak is right here. What's the name of the freak? And you, Perry Douglas, and you, Mark Monahan, and you, Michelle Crowley, have records in the district attorney's office. Can tell me the name of this freak. This is the boy. This is the boy that Regina Harper, the public defender's office, public defender Julius Bianca said, quote, the prosecutor's not backing down. I know what he looks like. He delivered me to Livingston County Jail in Geneseo, New York, when he didn't utter one word, one sound, one syllable. How am I jailing the prosecutor to talk in court? Freedom of information, the documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester in the United States Supreme Court for Alex Renzi. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley?